Some people like to use, here I'm just going to turn you a little bit. Some people like to use the jumbo NYX stick, which also works as well. And I found that if you go in circles, it's a more even application. You go right over the lips. Don't worry about them looking crackled or anything right now, because we're going to go over that. I like to go in with an angled blush brush to kind of fill in the powder a little bit more, just so that I can get the angles of her face better covered. So what you're gonna wanna do, because it's cheap face paint from the 99-cent store, is you're gonna wanna stipple it, which means you're taking the end of the brush and you're simply dabbing. What it does is it fills in the pores better with the makeup, so it makes it look fuller. This is NYX, I'm not sure what number it is. And then you're always going to want to set your face paint. So right now I am using the translucent powder from Makeup Designery. And you're basically going to do the same thing. You're just kind of stippling the color into the skin. If you want to go for a more opaque look, you would do a few more layers of the face paint. And you can also powder in between because the paint will stick to the powder better. Some people like to start with the rim around the eye first. I like to start with the color first. So today I'm going to be using Color Tattoo Eye Studio by Maybelline. So you're going to want to take a flat lipstick brush because that's the best to kind of get into the corners and everything, and it goes on really easily with the lip brush. And you're going to want to start from the brow and make a circle just around the eye socket. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, and it can actually be any shape that you want. I've seen some people do hearts, but today we're just going to stick with the classic. So next I'm going to go over it with a powder to set it. What I like to do as well to kind of give it a little bit more depth, and I'm going to go in with the same brush. Is to just kind of go in with a little bit of a darker color on her crease, because you still want it to have depth. Just blend it up a little bit as you would a normal eyeshadow. And make sure you get right in the brow bone right here, because that's what's going to give it that more skullish effect when we're done. So we're going to start at the eyebrow, and we're going to work our way around. And you're going to want to start at one side and then finish at the other. And don't worry about it looking uneven, because we're going to go back in with shadow. And kind of fix up the edges. So I'm going to go back in with my hard candy. I like this dark emerald green. I'm doing a light layer so that you can still see the black shining through. It just gives it a little bit of a glow. And basically you're just filling in any of the tiny gaps in the makeup. And don't worry about that little smudginess, because I'm also going to go back and rim the outside of the black. So we'll go back in and fix that real quick. And we're going to go around. Just for a little translucent pop of glitter. I like to start at one side and continue to the other. And you're going to start at the base of her cheekbone. Just kind of make a line with the color down her cheekbone. Kind of fade it out at the end. Make sure it's really opaque there. And it's the same concept as blush, except that it's green. So darker at the base of the cheekbone. And then you're just going to bring it up, fade it out. I'm going to add a little bit to her temple, just to give it some depth. And also a little bit on her forehead. And don't worry about going in with the tattoo color, because this is supposed to look a little bit more faded. So the eyeshadow will do just fine. Crazy, you could even do a little bit of her nose, which is going to get covered up anyway, but a little bit of the green popping through is kind of cool. And a little bit of the chin. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of the lips too. We'll make it a little bit of an ombre, which could be kind of cool. You can even do a little bit on the jawline, just to give it some depth. So you're going to press down a little bit harder when you're applying it. Not too hard, you don't want to thump the client. And then, to fade it out, I like to do circles. And you're going to connect it. And you can make as many lines as you want. I'm going to go like that. And then you're going to swoop across in little even strokes. And it doesn't matter how thin or thick that you do it, it's really your preference. And every other web, as you would call it, I'm going to make dark green. And you're going to want to stipple it in, like I was saying before. Sometimes when I see some loose powders, I like to take a big blush brush and kind of swoop it away so that they don't drop later on. Make some designs. Swirls. Could do a few webs out. We're going to do her lips. So I'm just going to line the inner corners and right here of her lips. We're going to do a little ombre. And I'm going to go back in. A little different from your typical Day of the Dead lip. But I kind of prefer a fuller lip. You can kind of just play with it. Use your big brush, like voice like that. Go back in with some green. Kind of leave some of that lighter green peeking through for a cooler effect. And then you can even just take the thin brush with the emerald and make some swipes for a kind of faded, toothy effect. And these are self-stick. If you really want to make them last all night, then I would suggest using eyelash glue or liquid latex. And you can go in with these as much as you want. Go there. I'm going to use some different colors here, just to give it a little bit of a pop. And it's as simple as blip, blop. You can kind of lump them together in different shapes.